In today's society, it is very common to see individuals copying famous people, whether it be Kylie Jenner's hair, Taylor Swift's style, or Michael Jordan's sneakers. Our society and culture are continuously influenced by individuals and products. It is seen that our decisions often parallel theirs. So, how does culture and society in which we live influence our decisions?
In the novel A Thousand Splendid Suns, the Afghani culture was centered around the idea that men were superior to women. At one point in the novel, the main character Lila gave birth to a daughter, which did not please her husband Rashid. He often saw her as a burden. In the first few days with the baby, he said, "Sometimes, I swear, sometimes I want to put that thing in a box and let her float down the Khyber River." Obviously, he sees her as a pain. He later sends her to an orphanage because he sees her as just another mouth to feed. The Afghani culture shaped Rashid's decisions in how he treated his daughter.
Another unfortunate cultural norm that slightly resembles Afghani culture is represented in Tableau by County Cullen. This poem was written in 1928, a time when it was frowned upon to be associated with an individual of a different race. Cullen wrote, "Locked arm in arm, they crossed the way, the black boy and the white." Then later states, "From lowered blinds the dark folk stare and hear the fair folk talk, indignant that these two should dare in unison to walk." People during this time were unaccepting of different races and often judged those who challenged social norms. Since so many were against associating with those of another race, this mainstream belief influenced the minds of many others to think the same way. County Collins' remark about blacks and whites resembles our country today on the support of gay rights. Currently, they are fighting for equal marriage rights and still struggle to be fully accepted into society.
Similarly, this pattern is relevant in The Tipping Point, written by Malcolm Gladwell. This book discusses the primary points of how a product or idea can tip. One epidemic that caught on in society was hush puppy shoes. Slowly, this shoe increased in sales immensely. In 1995, this company sold 430,000 pairs of the classic hush puppies, and in the next year, it sold 4 times that. Hush puppies were once again a staple of the young American male. This shoe took the world by storm as more and more people were influenced to buy it. Also, famous people such as Pee Wee Herman sported the shoe, causing the public to follow, proving that society influences decisions. As you know, Birkenstocks have recently spiked in popularity. These shoes were set off by the increasingly popular bohemian style. People who thought this shoe was ugly more often than not end up with a pair of their own. This is yet another example of how culture and society affect our decisions.
Not only did the Hush Puppies make a breakthrough, so did the Nike Elite Basketball Crew Sock. The youth of America has latched onto this trend, leaving it one of the most popular sock brands today. This product, quote unquote, tipped in 2007. It first started when the famous basketball players were sporting the Elite Crew sock. People noticed the new Nike sock on these famous players. The players' fancy sock choice inspired many people to go out and buy their own. Our society greatly influences our fashion choices. Our decisions greatly reflect the majority.
Fashion is not the only thing that influences people's decisions. People do too. Joseph McCarthy was a former American senator who was involved in the Red Scare. The Red Scare was a fear of communism in the 1950s. The Cold War tensions of the time put people on edge, leaving them to be very gullible. McCarthy took this opportunity to his advantage, accusing random government officials of being a communist. He quotes, "I have in my hand a list of 205 people that were known to the Secretary of State as being members of the Communist Party and who are nevertheless are still working in shaping the policy of the State Department." McCarthy successfully changed people's mindsets of who was communist. People believed him, and that had a huge impact on society and American culture. This still has lasting effects today. It's still very common today to see people who are very anti-communist.
Around the same time of McCarthy, Arthur Miller also made his perception of communism clear. He wrote the play The Crucible in the 1950s. This play was similar to the Red Scare except for the fact that it took place in the 1800s and focused on witch hunts. His play was meant to mock McCarthy's accusations. This play was a hit and led to many Americans to believe that McCarthy was being ridiculous. Overall, many factors play a key part in decision making. People such as Kim Kardashian, events, and things in society are all proven to influence our decisions. This is seen in both literature and real life situations. Almost every decision we make is influenced in some way by our culture and society.